You all very much for being out here today. It's a great honor to have you. And I know you got plenty of things to do on a Saturday besides come out and listen to a political speech, so it means a lot to have you here. I just came actually from being with Rachel Bringer and the folks at FEMA and SEMA who are doing a flood assessment right now in this county and are on their way down to Rawls County. And just as a reminder about how important it is, we have folks in Washington who are going to be looking out for us. I just came from Louisiana this morning, talking to the county commissioner there and some business owners there who have been devastated by these recent floods, and yet can't get help. When you turn around and see that folks in Washington have been bailing out Wall Street, they've been bailing out oil companies, and they've been giving them subsidies and giving them tax breaks, and yet they can't figure out ways to help folks in these communities, I say it's time we need to change something in Washington. For this race, I will tell you, I love the setup with this. We've got an open Cincy, we've got a United Democratic Party. I'm running against someone who represents the very worst of what we don't like about what's going on out there. Somebody who's been there for 14 years, been in the leadership for 10 years with Tom Clay and all of his cronies, and it's somebody who's been there as an architect of the bailout of the big Wall Street banks. Somebody who's been there right in the middle of giving subsidies and tax breaks to oil companies. And over again, when it comes down to whose side you're on, it turns out Congressman Blunt, who I'm going to be running against, is not on our side. And so this election, I know I'm cutting right to the chase here because we got just over 3 months to go. And Congressman Blunt's busy trying to make this election about the president or somebody other than himself. And I say, let's bring it home to what it's really about. It's about a choice between who you want to have representing you in Washington. Somebody who's got a record like I do, a Secretary of State is standing up for consumers. We've gotten over $10 billion back for tens of thousands of people from these big financial institutions. And we stood up for small businesses, cut red tape and cut costs for them so that they can focus on what they ought to be doing, which is creating jobs, helping grow our economy. That's what we ought to be having folks do, is look out for those small businesses that are the job creators. And I got a record doing just that. I think that's a record that's real different than Congressman Blunt, who's been out there on the side of special interests and just way too cozy with all of it. So that's the case we got to make this year. We've got a real choice in this election. And I tell you, I love that. I love that we got a choice. I love that we get to take it to these guys and say, look, you think it's worked out real great? You think the economic policies that got us to this place we are in this country are working? You want to vote for Roy Blunt. He's the one who's got his hand on the wheel getting us here, and we know exactly what he'll do if he gets promoted to the United States Senate. I say that's the wrong direction for our country, and I think most people do. But they need to hear that. You know, because you've got all kinds of noise out there going on right now. People don't know who to trust. Bottom line is you got to look at people's records and whose side they're going to be on. And I will promise you this. I will never forget who I work for. I will never be unclear. My job is to work for the people of this state and not all those special interests in Washington. The reason I keep bringing this up is because that's a huge difference between us. And I don't think we're ever going to get our economy back on track. We're never going to get this debt under control. We're never going to